Yes, I have. Hello, everybody. There are several things. The first is I'm not sure what to start in at the moment with regard to Portishead community, but I think this is the right meeting to actually raise these things. Knowing that the open air pool received a £50,000 grant via North Somerset Council from the government to actually aid the opening of the pool this year and help the pool to keep going. And I say 50,000. I am so sad and upset and concerned for the people who lost this facility this year. There is ongoing correspondence, and you know I've raised it before at these meetings, but how disappointing that now people in Portishead have to risk swimming in the sea. And in fact, they did so from July when our pool didn't open when it could have done, or actually go to Clevedon to engage in water activities. I'm so sad that such a large grant was given to our pool and we haven't had the use of that money. So that's the first thing. Second thing, on item 7 on the agenda tonight, I'm all in favour of recognising volunteers in this town. In fact, many volunteers still perhaps haven't been recognised over the years, but the proposal makes no mention of the fact there is already an award scheme in the town, namely the John Daws Cup or the John Daws Award. And the proposal makes it sound as if this is a new venture, a new initiative. And so it's really important that I think you do make it known in your resolution that there is already an existing award scheme. And in fact, I think Portishead in Bloom is part of that award scheme. I think they decide, along with other people, who gets recognised. And I think introducing the town council one is fine. I'm all in favour of more people being recognised, but I would hate to see that the
berate the others. They can't see me, I can hear it.
Sorry, there's somebody interrupting at the moment. I don't know who it is.
Can you put yourselves on mute?
Just 1 second, Annette.
Okay. All right, Ben. I'll carry on, shall I? Okay. Yeah, I would hate to see a new award scheme putting the existing one in threat, because that's gone on for so many years. It gets a lot of publicity. It's incredibly good for Portishead. And I'm not saying we can't have two, but I think it needs to be made clear that we do already have an award scheme. So what you're proposing is not new. It might sound good on paper, but I think it needs to be made clear that we have one already, so that people don't perhaps back yours and ignore the current one that goes on all the time as well. I don't know whether you've had any discussions with Portishead in Bloom about this, but certainly I imagine the Mrs. Daws, the late John Daws' wife, would probably be a little bit disappointed if she felt that people were recognising your new scheme but fell out and didn't actually send in proposals for volunteers in that existing one. So I do support another scheme, but I would like it made clear that this is not a new one. It would be a second award scheme in the town, so that people were aware of what was happening. I'm going to say this at this meeting, and I'm going to mention it at other meetings as well. This is a third item. I would like to think that when you were elected, the new town council, back in 2019, you promised to work with the public, to consult with the public, and to involve the public on issues that affect our town, and important issues. Obviously, there are things that happen within the council that may be considered confidential, but I'm talking about the important, crucial issues that affect our town as a whole. So I would like to have reassurance from every councillor, and I will mention it at other meetings as well until I have full reassurance, that not one councillor on Portishead Town Council either signs a non-disclosure agreement preventing the public from knowing what is going on behind the scenes. And more than that, I would like to think that no town councillor actually recommends a non-disclosure agreement and supports it. And I will explain at a later meeting why I'm saying this, but for tonight I would like to say I do not like the talk of non-disclosure agreements going on in Portishead that stops our town's residents knowing what is going on. So that's that. With regard to Gertie Gale's allotment, a brilliant statement went on the Town Council website regarding the hedge cutting. However, it didn't answer the questions as to why the hedge cutting was carried out in the manner that it was. And as Paul Mortby raised at the last meeting, certainly the manner it was carried out in, with no thought for the wildlife that was there, did raise very serious questions. And I think many supported Paul when he said perhaps the money should be withheld from the contractor who carried out the work. So it's great that the Town Council put in a statement. What they failed to do was tell us why it happened in the first place and what was going to be done to address the problem that it never happened again. So I think you do need to include that on your statements. Just very quickly on the Pill Park, as I've said already, I support a boathouse. However, planning permission is needed because it's no longer, I mean, when the first structure was put up, we were told it didn't need permission because it never had a roof to it. But although they are going for the landlord's consent, and that's why they want Portishead Town Council approval first, they should also now be going for planning permission. And I've got the emails that say they didn't need it before because it didn't have a roof on it. But clearly now it's a much larger facility and they do need planning permission, purely so that the residents in that area have a right to be consulted and have a right to comment. And that's really important because we didn't get that before. And so that's important. And then last item, and perhaps the most important item, which is why I wanted to check if Councillor Snaden was there tonight. I am sad and appalled to see what has happened to Battery Point on the rewilding. That is not rewilding what has happened up on Battery Point. Those trees have been planted haphazardly in open space. There has been no word from the consultation. And sadly, Councillor Petty, I know it's a North Somerset Council issue, but we had two councillors on ward councillors, one being a district councillor, one being a town councillor. I know she's not here to comment tonight, but they knew how important that situation was to people in the town. There's been no response, and when I asked what had happened to the consultation results, Bridget Petty failed to answer any of my questions. She got an officer to respond in her place, and the officer said, look at our website. Well, I'd already looked at the website. The last information was on there from 2019, when 70 people said that they were happy to help rewilding in the town. But there's been no consultation outcome or results, so we don't know how many responded. We don't know who was in favour, who objected, and certainly comments that I know I submitted and other people have as well with regard to Battery Point have not been listened to. So now we have an open green space on conservation land with trees that are in inappropriate places. We don't know what type of trees they are. They are going to block up the view, and I know that some people say trees are more important than the view. Well, I'm sorry, that's not necessarily true, because in Clevedon, Bridget Petty was happy to listen to the residents, and they stopped the tree planting up at the top of Clevedon because it was going to spoil the view. Yet she was quite happy to approve works that's going to spoil our Battery Point and the land there. But more than that, it's the reasons they've done it. They got money from the government to plant these trees. The trees were then donated to them, 50,000 of them, and it really seems to me that they didn't know where to put them. They put them in Brampton Way, they had to be uprooted because they were in the wrong place. They put them by the marina, they had to be uprooted, they were in the wrong place. Now, there was a meeting with people up at Blackdown Field regarding the trees up there, but no meeting was held with people for Battery Point. And more than anything else, that is not rewilding. Rewilding is putting that land back to what it was before. And also, when you put trees in an area that's going to be rewild, you expect them to then look after themselves. Now, North Somerset Council feel that they've got the funding from the government to maintain these trees, but they've put these trees next to land that families use. So many people use it, sporting groups, dog walkers, ordinary walkers, hikers, And if you're going to have that amount of trees next to an open green space, I would have thought that you could have some danger and you'd have high maintenance on them. But apart from anything else, that land was not designated for trees. You've got Eastwood directly adjacent to the land, and I'm absolutely appalled by what I've seen. And there's trees that they've actually almost separated off the first part of the Battery Point next to Eastwood from the next part of Battery Point. When the trees are in full height, then it's going to be appalling. And I'm more upset to see that the view across to Denny Island that many of us love in our town, when those trees reach full height, we will no longer be able to see Denny Island. So I would like to think that the Town Council writes to North Somerset Council to comment on it. I'd like to hear a comment from Tim tonight as to whether he knew this was going to happen, and if he didn't know, what his thoughts are, because I was up there yesterday and today, and I can't tell you the amount of people that were so angry to see it. It just seems to be a haphazard arrangement of trees on an area where I don't think they'll thrive anyway. And if they do, then I think it will be to the detriment of Battery Point. And I'm very sad and also angry about it as well. But if Tim could comment, I would be very grateful for that, please.
Thank you, Annette.